Hello. Okay. I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna play maybe a song from the Renaissance album. Just be it, a
Yes.
little waiting music. Hopefully, it doesn't end up accidentally playing Drake. Don't look at me. That was like my top artist. Oh no, it just can't play the current song. That's so weird. What is that? Maybe
I also hot take. I think Drake might be a lesbian. Just a hot take.
y'all can't hear what I'm playing, right? That's okay. So I guess it's not possible to do that. All right. Well, hello. Welcome to all the folks in the chat. I'm not gonna try to sing Beyonce's album, obviously, because I can't play it in the background. Or actually, maybe I could try play it on my phone. It might be a little bit like, throwback days of like holding your phone up to the radio to record it. But, I just wanna have a little bit of background music as we are waiting for folks to fill into the room. Okay, what's everyone's favorite song from the Renaissance album though? What's everyone's anthem?
Thick.
Okay, Thick. Okay, I see you. All right. What about you?
I really like Cozy.
Cozy. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cozy. Yeah. What about you, Ray?
I like Pure Honey.
Pure Honey is good. That is good.
It's giving ballroom culture, which I'm a part of.
Ooh, love this. What about you, Georgena?
Personally thick.
Okay, thick. Okay, I see the thick people in the room. Okay, the cozy people, the Pure Honey. I'ma say I love Energy and Alien Superstar.
Alien Superstar.
But it's giving what it needed to give. I'm not sure if you're able to hear this. It might be staticky in the background. Okay.
What about favorite Beyonce song of all time?
Ooh. Oh my god, I don't know. Like the album where she was mad, Lemonade. Like that. We need that Beyonce to come out more. Like her Virgo energy is just so like she's so like well kept that it's like sometimes we need to see the chaotic Beyonce. Like that's when her Houston comes out.
Yeah.
Like that's I think that's the one thing for me. Like being a Houstonian, it's like. Beyonce, don't forget your roots, girl. We want to see you come out.
Yeah, the baseball bat Beyonce is exactly correct.
That actually, I love that because the fact that it made it into Unbreakable, Kim and I don't know that one show with Titus. I don't know if y'all have ever seen it. Titus and Dramadan.
Oh yes.
I'm forgetting what it's called.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yes, there you go. I was like, what is her name? Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. There you go.
No, I agree though. I think Hold Up from the Lemonade album is my favorite Beyonce song of all time. Because I think she also is someone who's very like perfectionistic, modest stature. But she like showed us that she was human and that she gets jealous and she gets insecure. And I was like, that's my favorite Beyonce.
Yeah. That's actually true. But like also, can we talk about how Beyonce literally Jay-Z in that elevator, iconic moment. No one's gonna be talking about the Will Smith and Chris Rock slap. Everyone's gonna be talking about Beyonce, Jay-Z with the line. That so the slap heard around the world is what I guess it's called. I guess we'll just wait. This is my right. Come on, let's go. Like, just... All right. We're not gonna be queer people who start late. So let's go ahead and do this. Hello, everyone. Thank y'all so much for joining us today for the Bounce Back panel. Thank you, panelists, as well as thank you, guests. I'm Makai. I use they, them, and he, him pronouns. I'm calling in from sunny Los Angeles. I'll be the moderator for this panel. And before I kick it over to the panelist members, just a quick overview of today's topic. We will be discussing the bounce back from getting laid off, or just in general, the shared struggle to find a steady 9-to-5 work from home job during an ongoing pandemic. We have a couple of talented queer powerhouses with us today who will talk about how they took a bet on themselves and made it work by creating their own path in business. All right, let's do a round of intros for our panel members. I'll kick it off to you, AJ. Please go ahead and intro yourself with pronouns, title, location, and then you can popcorn it to another person.
Hi, everyone. My name is AJ. I go by he, him. I'm currently located in Chicago, but I'll be moving to San Francisco next week. And I'm
West
currently,
Coast.
currently founder and CEO of Syzygy Social, which is my social media agency, and Divinfluence, which is a startup that we launched over a month ago. And I will pop that popcorn to Jamie.
Pop that corn. My name is Jamie Issa. I use she, her pronouns. I'm based in Los Angeles. I am an artist. I'm also a co-director for Queer Asian Social Club, and I'm a creative director for live concerts and community spaces. And I'm so happy to be here. I shall pop that corn over to Georgena.
Thank you for popping that corn over to me. Georgena, pronouns she and they. I am in Dallas now, but I'm actually moving to New York in a couple of months. I am a senior recruiter at Ledger Investing, and when I was laid off, I actually started my own consulting firm. And so basically I'm doing the thing that I was doing for free anyways, which is giving free advice to startups for their D&I recruiting efforts. And I'm going to pop that corn over
This is really going to stick, isn't it? Okay.
over to Ray.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ray. I use they, he, she pronouns. I prefer my pronouns to be mixed up. So I'm a content creator. I use TikTok and Instagram, and I do a lot of education in terms of like trans neurodivergence people. I also work as a program manager for a nonprofit here in New York City for gay men's health crisis. And I also do consulting work, mostly for the startup Plume, telehealth service for trans folks. So I'm very excited to be here and share my knowledge with everyone here. And I'm based in Brooklyn, New York.
Love. Look at this. We have people just across the U.S. Come on, queer powerhouses. All right. First, I just wanted to do a mental health check-in. Using a fruit to describe your mental health state right now, how is everyone feeling? For example, today I'm feeling like a firm peach, keeping it cute and tight, but always peachy. So anyone want to answer that question? Told you it's gonna get you in the moment.
I guess I'll go ahead and jump in. I'm feeling like a nice mango, nice and fruity and sweet, but also feeling like tropical.
Ooh. Do we have tahini and chamoy on that mango? A little bit of spice?
Yeah, of course there is. A little spice in there, always.
I'm feeling a little kiwi. Feeling I'm in a space where I'm trying to be soft on the outside and the inside in the same way, but protective at the same time, and just confident in how I am different and how I'm unique as a kiwi.
Ooh, cute. We love that.
I'll go next. That's a good question. I've never thought about it this way. I guess I would go with a pineapple because when you look at it, you're like, you're going to eat this, you know? And I feel like once you start peeling it off and once you start cutting it up, then it can taste good, but only to some. Some can be like,
okay.
You know,
acquired taste.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste. So you really don't know what to get. Yeah.
I like this question. I'm going to go with a Honeycrisp apple, the best apple.
Okay.
Crisp and clean today. Got to,
come on. Yes.
Yeah. I'll stick with Honeycrisp.
I like the fact that you specifically, specified the type of apple. You're like, I'm not no Granny Smith apple now. No Gala apple, no Fuji apple. Only the best Honey Crisp, and she expensive too. So come on now, like you're just telling everyone that you're worthy. So we obviously we love to see that. But yeah, I dropped that question for everyone in the comments. Feel free to share what kind of fruit you're feeling like today. But yeah, let's move into the meat of the question. I'm sure people want to hear about you all. So, obviously, again, given the ongoing pandemic and the state of layoffs impacting various industries, what has the bounce back looked like for you all, and why is that? And this is obviously a question for all the panelist members.
I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead, Georgena. Take the mic.
I'll definitely start. It's been a whirlwind since it happened. It happened at the end of September. And I'd actually seen the writing on the wall because I work on the recruiting team. Whenever a company starts letting go of the recruiting contractors, just turn your LinkedIn settings on. And so, when I was laid off, I thought, what can I do to make money like immediately? And so then I just actually started looking through my inbox and reaching out to the folks that had reached out to me previously, started working on my resume, started helping other people work on their resume. That was actually really, really helpful for me working on mine. And then thought, okay, I'm giving away recruiting advice. I'm giving away D&I recruiting advice already. Like, how do I monetize it? Spoke with a couple of consultants, slid into some LinkedIn DMs, created a website, and then actually started working with one of my previous mentors. And I always tell folks, like, remember the people that you really enjoyed working with, right? Like, even if you're not laid off, you may want to get a job at some point, right? So like, keep in touch and keep those relationships really strong. And ever since then, it has been, it's only been a month. So we're still kind of like working out like what payment looks like and what my time with them will look like. But I actually just signed a contract with an organization. So.
Yes, congrats, Gina. I love it. Celebration. Yes. All right, Ray, what about you? What's the bounce back been like for you?
Ooh, I remember when the pandemic first started, like March 2020, they were starting to furlough some people in my job. And while, I didn't want to wait for me to get laid off as well, furloughed really. But thankfully that didn't happen, but I was prepared. I didn't want to be like, call my pants down or anything. So my boyfriend at the time, we're no longer together. I was living with them. They had to quit their job. And so it was just both of us. And so while they were dealing, with mental health, rightfully so, while I was supporting them, I had to like think of other ways I can make money because I can't really survive out here in New York City paying for both of us, so I had to, invest into like, getting certified as a personal trainer simply because I like doing that. And I kind of already do that already. So I had to, Georgena, like, how do I monetize that? And also I do consulting for like brands and startups, like how can we work with the trans community? So I wanted to like monetize that. So I told people like, I'm more than happy to work with you. It's just like, how much time do I have to invest? And like, this is what my rates would look like because I no longer have the capacity to do this for free. Unless it's like on a like ongoing, unless it's like something that I'm very passionate about. But a lot of people are not necessarily just trans owned. A lot of cis people reach out. It's like, you have the money for this. I know you have the money. Let's negotiate a way where I can get compensated and I can also help you further your reputation within the community that you want to serve. So I started doing that. I also got a part-time job, running support groups for the startup Plume, which is a telehealth service by and for trans people. So I started working on that. So I started like working in different capacities, and I started having to learn how to really manage my time because I also started getting into TikTok a little more seriously, and I finally got just over 100K on there, and I just hit
Whoa, come
600K on
on.
Instagram. So I'm trying to find ways, like IG Reels is starting to like monetize a little bit, so it's like a little money here and there. So it's literally me just trying to budget and do everything, because if I can make it out here in New York City, and I can, I live by myself in a 1-bedroom
Come on, yes.
job, so I could probably make it anywhere. So, I'm still trying to find my path, but like I am a little more secure, like working mostly remote, kind of like hybrid, like working in a way. I would definitely love to be fully remote, but it's a step-to-step process. But I literally had to realize and go through my resume and be like, what can I offer people? What can I offer already that I'm offering for free that I can finally monetize? So I updated my LinkedIn, my resume. I also had a website up. I have to renew that and get some business cards going and start networking.
Let's go. Let's go.
So that's pretty much what I've had to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you're being humble. You're honestly, one of the trans creators that I do follow on Instagram. So I'm just gonna drop, your Instagram in here, and people please follow Ray. She is absolutely amazing. But yeah, just a little plug here. And then, what about you, AJ? What's it been like for you? What's the bounce back look like?
Ooh, it's been an interesting ride. It's moving to San Francisco without a college degree. I dropped out of my third year of college, and I just used my Instagram as my resume. Previously, I actually built my career off of making memes. I had over 1.2 million followers, and I used that as a way to focus on what I didn't have, which was a college degree, because I've been told like, hey, you can't. I've been told during the interview process, like, you can't go far without a college degree. I'm like, okay, fine. But eventually, I became director of social for ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok. And eventually, I found out that full-time employment for me was not it, because after 6 months, I get bored. I love building, I love creating the process, and I love the thrill. And so that's where I created my agency. And I built my agency because I also wanted to diversify my clients. I want to make sure that just in case this one falls through, then I have other ones. And on top of that, I wanted to make sure that my agency is, I was able to build a culture where it makes me be a better person and make an environment that is more cultivating to other people that are like me. For other first generation, other people of color, other LGBTQ plus. So I'm proud to say that we are a minority-led agency. And on top of that, we have an apprenticeship program where we reach out to underrepresented people, teach them how to use social media, and place them to our tech clients. It's not about the lack of talent, it's a lack of access, because that's also important in social media, because, majority of those social media managers and marketing teams are straight white men led. And so we're trying to change that around and make sure that we create content that's more inclusive and more engaging. And to be honest, that's our secret sauce on how we make content more engaging, is we just make it more inclusive. Let's make sure that we create content that resonates with everyone and not just one type of person. And so that's my bounce back. And, we were able to build out the agency. We were able to, have clients such as Alibaba, Revolut, which is a $33 billion company. We got into politics. We got into politics in 2020, which did that for 1 year, done. Way too stressful. And too slow. And I don't know if y'all watch Queer Eye, but I was the digital director for Mayor Ted. He's now commissioner for DeKalb County in Georgia. So it was really interesting that I was able to create an agency with my team, and I come here knowing that I'm also here to learn with them, and knowing that we can work in multiple industries. We just have to switch things around and make sure that we were able to fit in and also change things around with the companies that we work with. Because we do talk about diversity. We talk about inclusion. They come to us asking us like, hey, when the George Floyd protests happened, like how should we respond? And I'm like, well, do you need to? Because we also have the opportunity to call them out and be like, this is performative, yes, you can say something, but what are you also doing? Yes, you can support Black History Month, but what are you also doing to your internal team for your Black employees? So we have that leverage now, and I love how they see us as that go-to people on how to approach certain things, because now people are more aware, especially with social media and brands being called out. So I'm excited to build my agency, and then recently we launched our startup, which is Divinfluence. And this is a very common pain point, actually, from our clients. It's hard for them to find diverse and underrepresented creators because, again, majority of these marketing teams are straight white men led, and they are not part of these communities. So now we created an influencer discovery tool to find LGBTQ plus, people of color, women of color, people who talk about mental health and accessibility. And I'm just very excited to really start that up, because in the creator economy world, again, there's not a lot of chatter about diversity when it comes to that. And also, we obviously know that there's a gap when it comes to creator pay, and we're hoping to change up. So yeah, that's my bounce back.
Yes, come on. Your bounce back was literally like a rocket ship. You flew. That's not a bounce. That's like a launch pad. But,
Elon Musk who?
I mean, excuse me, and you're going to where? But last but definitely not least, Jamie, please tell us how you were able to bounce back, what that looked like for you.
Yeah, my bounce back was actually like a crash and burn and painful reemergence into the world of rebirth, a renaissance, if you will. So yeah, I've actually never had a traditional full-time 9-to-5 job ever. My career has been in live entertainment and concerts as an art director. And so what I do is So in 2019, some of the last clients I worked with was designing shows for Aerosmith and James Taylor, and I did a show in China, and it was a lot of these really big multi-million-dollar shows, and it was, on the one hand, everything I dreamed of. I told Makai briefly that I got into this industry because when I was 18, I went to a Lady Gaga concert, and I was like, is this a job? Just someone design concerts? This is amazing. I want to tell stories with the stage, and I want to make people feel that feeling you get at concerts that are when you leave a concert and you're like, oh, let's go. Let's go. I wanted to be a creator of those spaces. And that's where I started at 18. And then by 2020, I had been doing it for a full decade. And on the one hand, I was very successful, as a freelancer, making very good money, and had a really impressive resume. But when the pandemic happened was really the first time I took a moment to pause, because everything had just been hurtling forward until then. And I took a pause, and I was remembered all of those moments, on opening night at the Aerosmith Las Vegas residency, for example. That was this huge moment in my career. But I just remember feeling so empty in this audience, just surrounded by older white straight people who were all just getting drunk and being Aerosmith. And I had given my life to putting this show together, stayed just classic as queer person of color in this industry that is only straight white older men, just constantly proving myself and constantly needing to feel that part of me that wanted that validation that I'm doing a good job, and then getting to the opening night and realizing I'm oh, I've been exploited. I've been taken advantage of. And so that was really what I realized during the pandemic. And I had this experience during the George Floyd marches where I was on this Zoom call with people who were all these people who were planning for designing an event in China that would be in a couple of weeks. And they were talking about I had literally done a drawing of a waterfall in this opening ceremony, and they were discussing how to spend $5 million to build this waterfall for literally a 5-second TV moment, while the George Floyd protests were literally happening straight from me. And there was a person on that call who was in China at the time, but they were a white person, and they were so what's going on out there? Like, what do they want? What do the protesters want? And I was like, it was like a horrific moment for me as like the only person of color on this phone call. And I like spoke up and I was like, like this is all kind of set up, but this is really significant what is going on here. And realized that the people that I was working with and working for did not have any context of being with the people of color and with being with the oppressed people, and realizing that I'm just like one step away from also being pushed into that category by the people that I was working for. And so that was really like my breaking moment where I had to like completely reevaluate myself and like my intention and purpose in the work that I was doing. And so I took these last 2 years and really like there was like a lot of darkness, but it was also kind of like coming back to like with Creation Social Club, coming back to like community spaces and coming back to like what actually are the kind of spaces that I want to create. Like, and there's like something so powerful about creating like art for people to experience in these like small moments as a collective and as a group. And it can be so healing. And so I've been working with Creation Social Club to build community events. Makai, you're at one of them. We did like a screen of everything everywhere all at once. We put together like music festivals and stuff. And I'm really just like focusing on the target audience of who I want to uplift into this world. And so, that's been my bounce back. But I've also like been regaining my courage to like take this and bring it back to the industry and like bring it back to the stadium shows with this intention and staying true to myself. That was a very long-winded answer, but
I mean, no, like I think, it's super meaningful to talk us through your journey. And I feel like that kind of leads or is a segue into like my next question for all of you, essentially, is just talking about boundaries. It sounds like, it's really hard for us to draw boundaries as queer people because one, we want to do meaningful things. We want for our work to be impactful, to be purposeful, but at the same time, money and also like mental health, everything that's ongoing in the world, right? I see, Georgena, I saw your face. You're like, money, mental health, come on. So like, what have you all learned about boundaries this past year, whether from drawing boundaries between your personal life and your professional life, as well as like drawing boundaries between, hey, I got to do things that I may not like because I got to earn money, and also doing things that really fulfill your cup of purpose and passion and impact. And
I think I can go first.
Yeah.
I think before setting boundaries, it's understanding what we need to heal from. I think that we also need to understand our value before setting those boundaries so that we can know when to draw the proper line where people can't cross. So an example is we've had clients who've yelled at us and I've told them like, stop. You can't talk to us like this way. We can set up another call, but if you keep going like this, it's not going to be productive and we can end it right now. So, and I had to talk to my team like that too, because again, we're all minority led. We can't have people talking to us like this because it's, first of all, even though, I am the founder of my company and y'all are working for me, we're equal, we treat each other the same way. It's different. Experience and equality is different. So those things are something very important to acknowledge. And, eventually once we start gaining experiences and once we have more people gravitating towards us, that's when we can start setting, again, those boundaries. Because people come up to me, ask me for social plans and, how we can gain more followers, how to go viral. I give them an idea of a direction of where they can go to. But I will also let them know, like, I do this for a living and this is my rate. So if you want to continue a conversation, this is how it is, and this is what I can offer, and this is the expectation. And honestly, in my field too, people want 100K followers in 1 week. If I can do that, I promise you, I wouldn't be talking to you. We can charge a lot more for that. So again, it's just like reframing expectations so that you can put those proper boundaries when you're talking to people.
I mean, you said it right there. Yeah. I mean, come on, Georgena. I know you have a good hot take here, so let's go.
I had to take some notes just to like keep the thoughts focused. I think the first thing I thought about was AJ, thank you for how you're setting boundaries, because it definitely made me think about things that I forgot. But my first thing is like think about setting boundaries with myself around my time and how valuable my time is. I think a large part of getting laid off was actually being like, shame, I'm going to use you as a a tool to get up and do stuff when I don't want to. And so setting those boundaries with myself and my time, and stop working for free, even during that time of being laid off, and knowing that like, even though I am laid off, like I'd still deserve to be paid for my time, especially if I'm spending hours on the phone with someone creating a strategy that they're going to use over the next year, right? And then I took a long time and just sat with myself and learned how to say no to things that I didn't want to do, even if I thought that they would like make me money or do something else, right? Like if I learned how to say no, right, I can actually spend more time doing the things that I wanted to do. And then I think lastly is making time for the things that I really wanted to do, even if they didn't pay me any money. And that's kind of where I am now. Like if I have these boundaries with myself, if I have these boundaries at my job, right? If I set these work hours, and if I do these work hours, then I can spend that other time doing the things that I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, that is so real, to get compensated for our time, right? Mm-hmm. Especially when it's like, how do we even ask for that, to draw that boundary? It's like, we want to be able to help, but also at the same time, it's like, pay me for my time, baby. Come on, But Jamie, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I feel like both AJ and Georgena touched on like really what the central point of all of this is: knowing your worth. And that has honestly been the biggest component of my bounce back, because in 2020, I had such a small perception of what my worth was. Again, just trying to fill that like validation hole. And for me, that's been a lot of like mental health therapy work of filling that hole outside of work, because when you show up to people who are trying to work with you, who want to make money off of what you do, you need to be firm in that. And it's exactly what Georgena was saying too, is like your free time, like, and you giving yourself the time where you're not paid by outside sources, and knowing that you giving that time to yourself is honoring and cherishing yourself, because there's nothing of greater value than the time you give to yourself. Like for me, I feel like that's been the biggest component of my bounce back. I'd be curious to hear actually how speakers on this panel, like their relationship to their self-worth has been in these last couple of years or in your lifetime, especially as queer POC.
I know, come on
like bottom of the totem pole by society, and like every day we gotta be like, no, we are the secret sauce. Stop paying us $10 an hour.
I know, come on.
Yeah, I like that. And there was something in the comment that really stood out to me, where Daniel said, I think we can be seen as aggressive when we stand up for ourselves. And you know what? That goes back to what Jamie said. It's understanding our self-worth. Why should I sacrifice my peace for yours, especially if you're not paying my bills? So make sure that when you have to sacrifice that, think about it. Are they paying for your bills? If not, then sorry. Because at the same time, it's not you, it's them. Like, and we've had clients where they hired us to be like their yes people, but at the same time, like, why would you? We have the fiduciary responsibility to let them know, like, hey, it's not going to work out well. This is how we should do it based off of our experience. And then they're like, oh, we should do it this way instead. And then if it fails, it's ultimately going to blow back into us, and we seem incompetent when we're not. So like, it's just about protecting your peace and being strategic with fighting the right battles. And it's okay. People see me as aggressive, if they see me as friendly, that's on them. It's not on me. I'm still over there. I'm staying in my lane. I don't know where they're at.
Yeah.
They're on the sidewalk. So it's about reframing your mind.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna let Ray answer this question, and then we'll move on to QA. But Ray, like, how have you been drawing boundaries just with everything?
And I can actually answer Jamie's question too, and especially in terms of like self-worth, but we'll get to that. I guess in terms of boundaries, before I will readily admit that I had like no boundaries at all. I would work myself till like maybe 1 a.m. if I let myself. And that because like I felt like ever since my ex like lost their job and I was like trying to put the money up, and even though we broke up and now I live by myself, I feel like the hustle has just never stopped. Ever since then, I've just been going, and like sacrificing relationships with other people, like friendships and all these things. And so now I actually got into the habit of telling myself, okay, the weekends is going to be mostly just for creating content, and then just spacing it out for the rest of the week. So I can just post content, schedule it, and then I can just go about my day. I could be working, be like, oh, I have something to post today. So there we go, ready to go. And so I was now start take the weekends for myself. I'm not on social media at all. I'm literally just doing my personal life, decompressing. I actually invested in my health in the sense that my gym actually has a sauna, steam room, and even has a jacuzzi. So like I will literally do my yoga.
Self-care.
I will literally sit in the jacuzzi. And another boundary I started having is like, I'm not working after 8 p.m. Like that's it. All the emails are done. And I'm in bed by 11 o'clock. So by 10:30, I need to be brushing my teeth, doing everything. 10 o'clock, I need to be doing my nighttime yoga. Otherwise, I cannot sleep. And so by 11 o'clock, I'm in bed. I need to be up by 7. And so I can do my workout and everything. And then by around 10:30 a.m., I start doing work. Unless I have something specifically earlier than that, like I don't respond to anything, social media, emails, or nothing, unless it's like 10 a.m. So those are like firm boundaries I had to have. And also due to the amount of work that I have, I also had to start saying no to brands like, hey, we want you to write such and such or record these videos and we'll give you free exposure. I was like, exposure is not going to pay my rent. And I live in New York City. Just so you understand, you wouldn't work for free. So why should I work for free? Especially when it's like creating content. That's a big chunk of time because you have to sit down and write a script. Then you got to film it. Then you got to edit it. Then you have to send it to them for review. And it's like, no, that encompasses a good chunk of my time. So please compensate me. Otherwise, just keep me in mind for any paid opportunities. So, you don't have to be aggressive about it. You just say like, hey, listen, I have bills to pay. This is a good chunk of my time. If I'm willing to work with you, I just need to be compensated for said time because, I have bills to pay, utilities, rent, loans, because, them college student loans are a real thing, So that's how I went through that. And the self-worth thing, that does come with like therapy, also taking time to do some guided reflective sessions on like journaling. Journaling is a really important tool that cannot be understated. If nothing else, even if it's not guided, just getting all your brain thoughts, like as someone who overthinks, writing it out, just dumping it, like really relieves and takes off some of the burden from your head. Just having it up. You don't have to show it to anybody. You just like write it out, like, just freehand. And that's my answer to this question. It was as long-winded as it was.
No, I mean, I really appreciate all of y'all for, just sharing these gems because I feel like everyone in the comment section is like, yes, this part, that one, this, that, the next. And so all of that said, we have a very quick lightning round for Q&A. Feel free to drop any questions either into the chat section, or if you are comfortable with grabbing the mic and coming on and asking your question, there is that option as well. But, wanted to open up the floor for folks to be able to ask our talented queer powerhouses anything that you would want to ask. If nothing, I have more questions I can get to, but Jamie, you look like you had something.
Oh no, it looks like someone wants the mic.
Oh, okay. There you go. Hello, Monroe. Welcome.
Hi.
Hey.
First of all, thank you all for sharing your words of wisdom and guidance. I have a question, I guess, for the entire panel, but in thinking through, talking realistically about like navigating these spaces, right, that are known to be oppressive on various levels, and then being a Black trans woman in the middle of her transition process, I think when I stepped into the space of professionalism and ambition and knowledge that I used to wield when I presented very differently, I find that I run into more pushback because I'm being read as hyper aggressive and hyper confident and facing the dueling aspects of oppression from gender and race, and then also trying to navigate multiple transitions and career transition, gender transition, and then also just trying to build and be an entrepreneur. And so can you all talk realistically about, we've talked about some of the like self-care things, but just about how you make space for yourself and give yourself grace through that process and don't like lose the anger switch too much while still remaining professional, but also competent and just juggling all of those different hats and roles.
Yeah. I don't know if the anger switch ever goes off. I think we just subdue it a little bit as we move through this professionalism. And like, whenever I think about that word, I think about how racist it is, right? And how it's like, it wasn't intended to have folks of color, folks in it at all. And so like now I get to define what professionalism is for me, right? And a big part of that is only working remote jobs now, right? Like I'm not ever going to go inside the office. And so, yeah, that's how I give myself grace, is just deciding, I don't care how much money you give me, I will always be working remotely and not inside of an office. So.
Yeah, I also wanted to say, kind of related to all of these questions about perception and like being perceived as aggressive for asking for what we want and having our boundaries is something that I've struggled with a lot, because I definitely have worked through just the disease to please and just the desire to be liked. And I have really found that actually like that's all kind of like external chatter. But when you go into the core of what is your intention of this interaction, is your intention pure and good-hearted, even if it's not perceived as such, and being solid in knowing that and having self-love for yourself and your intention first and foremost, and then how you're perceived. Like I'm sure like everybody here, like the brighter you shine, the more people, the more eyes will be on you. You will have more critics. And I think this is a lot of reason a lot of us dim our shine. It's why I've dimmed my shine, because I've been afraid of making people jealous, of making people feel threatened, when actually like that's not helping anyone for me to dim my shine. But yeah, I relate to you totally on the journey that has been. It's one I'm still on. So yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Monroe. That was a great question. If anyone else has any other questions, please drop it into the chat, or feel free to grab the mic from the bottom left corner here. I think we have room for hopefully one more question, because we do have to wrap up at 11:45. Okay. If no one has any questions, I do have a little bit of I want to say maybe a spicy question. I mean, I feel like some of y'all already may have touched on this, but like, how do we make capitalism work for us? Like, I know this is such a broad question, but I feel like as queer and trans people, sometimes we really just have to continuously sell ourselves. It's like constantly having to put on a show, whether from like being professional, not being perceived as like angry, aggressive, or like one of those people who are trying to like, break the status quo. So like curious to hear from any of y'all on how do we do that? How do we make the capitalism work for us?
I'll jump in here first. Yeah, I think this conversation and like rooms like this where people as queer people of color, we are talking about our worth and owning our self-worth. Again, it's realizing that we are the secret sauce, we are the magic, we are the culture creators, and capitalism is nothing without us. We are the content. And so I think when we, as queer people of color, more people of color own that and are able to own that and find each other, to work with each other and empower each other, then the flow of abundance that currently that capitalism has had a chokehold on, when it flows through us, the world is going to change. Like it's already changing. Like, come on. Like the people in this room are already changing the world, and this is just the seed of it. It's growing and growing and growing. So capitalism is already working for us.
Come on, yes, get our bag, get our coins. We are the secret sauce, to your point. Right? How do you feel about this as like a content creator? I know like that could be sometimes hard as well. You
absolutely. So I guess I'll definitely piggy off what Jamie has said. Sorry, my brain's not here. It's but yeah, so what I will say is that like mobilizing the community in a way, because at least I can speak to the trans community, it can be very divisive based on like identity politics and everything, and like kind of keeps us like, under the thumb of capitalism. So I think we mobilize and actually use each other's strengths and like uplift our like weaknesses and like really work together. We can really make capitalism work for us, and also like putting ourselves in like key roles where we can like run our organizations, employ people within our community, and really get us to uplift, where our money will actually be able to go towards causes that are relevant to us, and also like be able to hopefully shift the dynamic of like, because as most of you know, there's over 300 anti-trans bills just this year alone, and a lot of like gender affirming care is getting rolled back. Like recently that was like in Florida as well. So like we really need to like get our like net worth to really go up and really put ourselves in key roles in order to make capitalism work for us, and hopefully be able to work for trans youth in our generations to come as well.
Yes, come on. Well, that was honestly a mic drop moment. I know we're a little bit over time. I'm just going to drop all of the folks' LinkedIn. Please feel free to reach out to any of us to ask any questions at all. We're here for you. This is house. We're community. We want y'all to be able to come home to us. So
yes, slide into our DMs. Talk to us.
Yes, come on, talk to us. All right. Well, all right. Let's see y'all in the next session.
Yes, thank you.
Bye. Thank you all. All right, bye everyone.
Thanks.